opportunity to talk on this subject, sir. This is my maiden speech in this August House. Sir, first of all, I'll want to draw the attention of the government through you, sir. Over the years, budgets have created two Indias, one for IPL and one for the BPL. That is, the IPL is for urban India, and we can call it as a urban India, and one the BPL is for rural poor. And just the gap, as the honorable member was telling now, the gap between the poor and rich is becoming more and more over the budgets being presented in this August House. The budget language also reveals how a society thinks in India, sir. Concessions to the rich are called as incentives, and those for the poor are called as relief. But when it comes to the middle class, it says they are shocks. And I want to bring to your kind notice, in the last year's budget paper, there was a document called, and it is also there in this year's document, Statement of Revenue Forgone. In the last 2 years, the revenue forgone for the rich people is around 9,16,399 crores, sir. And in this country, we all know that we have around 12 crore farmers living in this country, and it will be very interesting to know that the marginal farmers, that is below 1 hectare farmers number is around 58%, who owns the area of only 15% of the area, and whereas the small farmers are having a land area of 1 to 2 hectares have been 19%. That both put together it is around 77 to 80% of the farmers are marginal and small farmers. And if the area put together between them is only 33%. And the agriculture is the basic need for them. They will be doing the small and marginal landholder will be having a very normal, a paddy farmer is likely to earn a gross income of 31,000 rupees per hectare in a year, whereas a family of two engaged in agriculture labor makes about 25,000 rupees per year under the recently introduced our Manrega project. The net income of a farmer is much less compared to the urban wage earner employed in government or in the private corporate sector, sir. And it will be compared to, it will be very peanuts if you can compare that. And why can't the government forego the interest rate what the government has introduced this year? It has increased the agriculture credit from 3,75,000 crore to 4,75,000 crore. And I request the Finance Minister through you, sir, to forego the interest rate which is applicable to the farmers. Thereby, it can forego around under 40,000 crores, which is peanuts when compared to the large-scale foregone revenue when it compared to the only top 2% of this country. So, sir, even in the National Farmers Commission has also identified the knowledge deficit in agriculture as an important factor why the productivity is much lower than what it is achievable, sir. This results in farming practices in large parts of the country are suboptimal. Soil testing to determine the optimal nutrient requirement is hardly practiced, sir. Fertilizer application is highly imbalanced with excessive use of nitrogenous fertilizers leading to negative effect of productivity of the soil, sir. Here I want to make one point clear, sir, through you, sir. These imbalances have to some extent as the result of a system of fertilizer subsidy which is not rational, sir, and focuses extensively on nitrogenous fertilizers. Sir, in the agriculture sector, in the economic survey, it has been observed, that capital investment in agriculture as a percentage of the GDP has been stagnating in recent years, sir. Although the capital expenditure in agriculture as percentage of the GDP in agriculture has shown some improvement in the current 5-year plan, it may however also be noted that the agriculture sector GDP has itself been stagnating during the last 3 years, sir. capital investment in the agriculture sector has to be improved, sir, thereby improving the fertility of the soil. Per hectare, it can be around, there are 8 million hectare which land has to be improved, for which per hectare the investment would be around 10,000 rupees, sir. Thereby 80,000 crore of rupees can be invested in the agriculture sector as a capital expenditure, sir. There are some more points which can be helpful to the farmers, which over a period you can do it, and thereby helping the farmers to have their. And one more thing regarding the inflation, sir, I want to make one point clear. Markets, as we all know that as students of economics tell us, are functions of sentiments, sir. Sentiments in turn are fashioned by collective mood swings of market participants. Naturally, that makes media an important tool in shaping and de-shaping the sentiments of the market participants. But the role of certain section of the media is not limited merely to this exercise. Let me elaborate the certain real-life developments of the past couple of years. Of late, there is a new class of investments by the financial sector into the commodity, and the relationship between supply and demand seems to have been completely bypassed, sir. What is worrying analysts is the growing influence of these players who tend to take positions that exert extraordinary pressure on prices, that in turn fuels speculative bubbles, sir. Moreover, their activities are coordinated across currency, stock and commodity markets. Consequently, the rise and fall in commodity prices has nothing to do with demand and supply of the particular commodity. In this process, the fundamentals of economics have been short-circulated. Sir, I want to make at the end of 2006, all over the world, the food prices were started to rise, sir. Suddenly, and it was stratospherically, I can say, sir. Within a year, the price of wheat had shot up by 80%, maize by 90%, rice by 320%. In a global jolt of hunger, 200 million people, mostly children, could not afford to get food anymore and sank into malnutrition or starvation. There were riots in almost more than 30 countries, and at least one government was violently overthrown, sir. Then in spring 2008, prices just as mysteriously fell back to their previous level, sir. It is a silent mass murder entirely due to the man-made action, sir. Most of the explanations we are given at the time have turned out to be false, sir. It didn't happen because supply fell. It was not because the demand grew either. There was actually a demand fell by 3%, sir. Actually, for over a century, farmers in wealthy countries have been able to engage in process where they protect themselves against risk.
Please conclude.
Under 2 minutes, sir. I'll conclude, sir. Under 2 minutes, sir. But the process was tightly regulated, and only companies with a direct interest in the field food got involved, sir. It worked. Then through the 1990s, Goldman Sachs and other lobbies hard, and their regulations were abolished, sir. Suddenly, these counter-acts were turned into derivatives that could be bought and sold among traders who had nothing to do with agriculture. A market in food speculation was born. Sir, now I want to make one comment on this issue of overhyping the failure of the monsoon in 2009. The Economic Survey 2009-10 was particularly critical of the government's failure in not being able to check the hype over the Kharif crop failure caused by an erratic monsoon, sir, which did not take into account the comfortable food stocks and prospects of Rabi production. The survey further notes that this may have exaggerated inflationary expectation, encouraging holding and resulting in a higher inflation in food terms. What is lost in this debate of the absurd is that the government allowed such speculation in the first place and then kept quiet when the players hyped up the monsoon players, sir. Sir, now I want to make one or two suggestions in this budget, sir. In this budget, the government has decreased the import duty on raw silk, sir, which has created a panic in the Indian silk farmers. The price of silk has gone down from 300 rupees to 100 rupees. So I urge upon the government through you, sir, to increase the import duty of minimum to 300% per kg, sir. In this budget, garment industry is also getting under severe shock, sir, with the announcement that the optional excise duty of 10% across the branded garments has been increased, sir. I want that to be come down, sir. And one more thing, I want to say that perhaps the single worst idea in this budget is to slap 5% service tax on the health care, sir, which will put affordable medical treatment further beyond the reach of the common man, sir. I want that to be reduced, and I submit one more request through you, sir. I personally feel that, sir, the MP Lord is not sufficient, sir. Either you have to increase it to the tune of 8 to 10 crores, or else you can abolish it, sir. It will be very helpful if you abolish it also, sir. And I wholeheartedly agree and support the increase in the remuneration of Anganwadi workers from rupees 1,500 to 3,000 rupees per month, sir. And in
Please conclude.
sir, one more minute, sir. One more. I'll conclude, sir.
Yeah, ठीक है.
And I also congratulate the government in giving skill development a special criteria and giving it a top priority and include it from graduation courses. And there is a skilled manpower is required in this country. I strongly feel that funds allocated to National Skill Development Council in this has to be at least doubled in the supplementary budget, and due consideration should be given in ensuring it in the 12th five-year plan, sir. Here, for giving me this opportunity, I conclude and I'll thank you once again, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.